Hello and welcome to What the F Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Monday, November 9th, 2020. Welcome to day 1390. More than 10 million people have now been infected with the coronavirus across the United States, which represents about 1/5 of the 50 million infections worldwide. At least 105,000 new coronavirus cases were reported on Sunday, down slightly from the daily record set the day before. All but one state has had more cases last week than the week before. Meanwhile, Biden named 13 health experts to his transition COVID-19 advisory board and declared the pandemic, quote, one of the most important battles our administration will face, end quote. Adding, quote, I will be informed by science and by experts, end quote. The panel will be co-chaired by the former FDA commissioner, former Surgeon General, and an associate professor of medicine and epidemiology at Yale University. While Biden is unable to take control of the country's response until after his January 20th inauguration, the advisory board will work in the meantime to create a plan for bringing the pandemic under control, a process that Biden says will begin immediately upon his inauguration, despite uncertainty over how much the Trump administration plans to cooperate. Biden also warned that the United States was facing a dark winter as the coronavirus continues to spread and appealed to Americans to wear masks, saying, quote, a mask is not a political statement, end quote. Meanwhile, a coronavirus vaccine being developed by Pfizer is reportedly more than 90% effective, according to an analysis by an independent data monitoring committee. Pfizer plans to ask the FDA for emergency authorization later this month after it has collected 2 months of safety data. By the end of the year, it will have manufactured enough doses to immunize 15 to 20 million people. Pfizer did not join Operation Warp Speed, the Jared Kushner initiative to rush a vaccine to market by providing funding for research and manufacturing. Instead, Pfizer invested $2 billion into the project and then made a $1.95 billion deal with the U.S. government to provide 100 million doses. Biden says he also plans to sign a series of executive orders after being sworn into office on January 20th to reverse Trump's policies, including rejoining the Paris Climate Accord, reversing the country's withdrawal from the World Health Organization, repealing the ban on travel for some Muslim-majority countries, and reinstating the program allowing Dreamers to remain in the country. Moving on, Mitch McConnell says he supports Trump's refusal to concede the election, saying that Trump was, quote, 100% within his rights, end quote, to challenge the outcome and, quote, look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his legal options, end quote. McConnell, declining to recognize Biden's victory, added that Trump was right not to concede the race because no states have certified their results yet. Jason Miller, a senior advisor to Trump's re-election effort, said that conceding is, quote, not even in our vocabulary right now, end quote. Meanwhile, a Trump administration appointee has refused to recognize Biden as the winner of the election and has declined to sign a letter allowing Biden's transition team to formally begin its work. Emily Murphy, the administrator for the General Services Administration, must first affirm the election results in order for Biden's team to receive the legally mandated millions of dollars in federal funding, as well as access to government officials, office space in agencies, and equipment authorized for the transition team. John Barsa, the acting deputy administrator of the U.S. Agency for International Development, told political appointees that the transition of power hasn't started and will not begin until Murphy signs off. Trump, meanwhile, fired Defense Secretary Mark Esper via tweet. Trump tweeted that Christopher Miller, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, would immediately become acting defense secretary now that Esper has, quote, been terminated, end quote. Trump nominated Esper last year as his 4th Secretary of Defense, and the two have been at odds since Esper declined to deploy active service troops to U.S. cities during the height of the Black Lives Matter protests this summer. 2 White House officials said FBI Director Christopher Wray and CIA Director Gina Haspel could be next. And finally, Trump told his advisors that he's thinking about running for president again in 2024. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Anditas.